Welcome to Geological Shop Talk. In this podcast, we bring you roughly 20 to 25 minutes of practical clinical methods, perspectives, and advice that has its work boots on. Listen in for clinical gems that you can begin to investigate the next time that you walk into clinic. Additionally, visit the show notes page for supporting materials from this week's guest on Shop Talk. All right, friends, roll up your sleeves. Let's get to work. This episode of Shop Talk is brought to you by Lhasa OMS, your clinic's partner in wellness. Later in the show, listen for a special offer from Lhasa to help you with all the transitions your patients face. The information shared on this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. Always consult a qualified licensed healthcare professional before making any decisions about your health or treatment. The host and guests are not responsible for any actions taken based on the content of this podcast.
Settle in for this shop talk and get ready for some serious ghostly fun. Today, I'm about to float and glide into the wonderfully enigmatic world of the 13 ghost points, an esoteric treatment I've been using in my practice for nearly 2 decades, and it's the subject of an upcoming book that we are writing on the 13 ghost points. I believe the ghost points, they're like the hidden gems in the acupuncture world. And, they've been taught almost like a sidebar in acupuncture schools, shrouded in mystery and just simply misunderstood. I have embraced the power of the ghost points through the understanding that it really demands a certain level of practitioner self-cultivation before their potency can be fully realized. Today, I'm hoping to shed some light on how I use these and teach them, and how you can begin to cultivate a deeper understanding of these points and maybe even harness them for their transformative power in your own life and practice. I'm Leta Herman, the co-founder of the Alchemy Learning Center and the Alchemy Healing Center. The Alchemy Learning Center is a growing community of acupuncturists, healers, and self-cultivators from all over the world. Together, we're exploring Taoist alchemy and classical Chinese medicine as a means to unlocking our true potential and helping others to do the same. In this Shop Talk episode, I will show you how the ghost points can be an integral part of our alchemical Chinese medicine approach. Let's go back in time. The origins of the ghost points trace back to the earliest known Chinese physician, Bian Ke, who actually created 20 ghost points. However, the most renowned set that we know about today is the 13 ghost points, and they were assembled into a protocol by the king of medicine, Sun Miao, who was born in 581 of the Common Era. Originally designed to cast out demons, these points are much more relevant in our modern-day practices than you might think. I once believed the ghost points, they should be reserved for the most dire cases as a last resort. However, when I incorporated the ghost points into my practice, something really fascinating began to occur. The family members of the clients who had these treatments done witnessed profound shifts in their loved ones, and then they began wanting to have their own ghost point treatments done. They too carried traumas from their past, even if their symptoms were less pronounced. Many people have their own hidden baggage, or what I call skeletons in closets, even if they're not possessed by ghosts or gwei in the traditional sense. I often say they're haunted by their past, and it's like they're a fish on a hook. As hard as they try to wriggle off those hooks, it's incredibly hard to actually break free. In today's modern landscape, I find that so many of my clients can benefit from the ghost points, and so many people from around the world have come to receive the treatment and study and learn more about the ghost points in their lives and in their practice. Why, you might be asking yourself? Because these points act as liberators, unshackling the chains of trauma and clearing the old baggage of this lifetime that's been cluttering up your life. Another way to look at these points is that they can help break up stuck cellular patterns on the physical level and let go of obsessive thought patterns on the mental level. Consequently, I now incorporate ghost points for anyone who has faced trauma or adversity, which includes nearly everyone, except maybe those fortunate individuals with idyllic childhoods. Although, even in the best of circumstances, life can still present challenges in the person's mind. So the question is, are the ghost points appropriate for you to use in a daily setting, say during a 1-hour acupuncture session? While I generally adhere to the original Sun Si Miao point prescription as an almost ritualistic all-day protocol, I understand that treating a single client for up to 4 to 6 hours may sound a bit extreme to some practitioners. However, I have used it as a highly effective approach to cleansing accumulated baggage, which quite frankly takes time. You can't expect a patient to release something carried for their entire lifetime within the traditional 1-hour setting format. However, if you're eager to embrace the ghost points, I suggest starting with a more accessible entry point. Given the significant self-cultivation you're going to need, I'm going to recommend today that you start by using the ghost points as single points. That being said, I'm going to recommend the points that are less activating or destabilizing for the majority of patients. This way, you can integrate them into a conventional 1-hour session and potentially work up to offering longer treatments over time. One of the reasons we do the longer sessions is that the ghost points can potentially open a Pandora's box of trauma and emotions for some clients. Once that box is cracked open even a little, you can't easily deal with all that comes out within an hour. It wouldn't be fair to end the session with everything heightened and activated, leaving the patient in a somewhat unstable state. For this reason, I advise caution using the ghost points, being fully aware of what you're asking that person to do during this work. That said, a few ghost points appear to be less triggering overall and align well with shorter sessions. After years of practice with hundreds of clients, I have found that these points seem to impart wisdom, gradually unveiling their true essence to me. With time, you'll begin to decode them, and their impact on your patients becomes more evident. For our purposes today, I'm going to recommend 2 points. First, let's look at Ghost Palace, or Do 26, the initial point in the 13 ghost point sequence. I like to call this point the door to your palace, and the Chinese character used for this point is a large entryway where the palace guests are greeted, much like the door to a majestic hall. This point is located between the mouth and the nose, the most accessible entry points of the body. It's like your interface to the world. You breathe and eat and take in the world through this area. So the question is, what does this door represent for the patient, especially after trauma or negative life events? Was it once wide open, but now is bolted shut with only a peephole? Some people are naturally open and gregarious, and some people naturally have a closed door. But trauma can really affect how a person relates to the world, so this point is an ideal starting place. It's about the outermost public-facing part of you, so it doesn't tend to unearth those deep secrets like the ghost hidden point, which is traditionally Ren 1 for men. Ghost Palace helps to restore a person's authentic interaction with the world. Another beneficial point, which seems to avoid being triggering, is Ghost Market, or Ren 24. I actually think we all need this point because we often struggle to put ourselves out in the world as healers. Ghost Market is about how we express ourselves in the world. Do we speak highly of ourselves or persistently undermine our worth? This point encapsulates the belief that each of us possesses a gift, a role to play in the world. We are cogs in the wheel, and when we withhold our gifts, the designated recipients of our gifts suffer, and the wheel doesn't turn. In other words, people out there need your unique gifts, and it's our responsibility to ensure that they receive the signals that indicate that we are offering something they may want and need. Imagine you're selling apples at a farmer's market. What would you write on your booth sign that's both honest and enticing enough for the person needing your apples to say, yes, that's what I want? Even if your apples are some of the tastiest out there, but have the occasional worm in them, there will be someone out there who values the taste over the occasional imperfection and absolutely love your apples. So when you work with Ren 24, it seems to be a point that can profoundly benefit patients without triggering overwhelming reactions. Although you may not be able to unlock its full potential without doing the preceding points in the protocol, the results of doing the single point can still be astonishing. I once did this point in an expo in a brief 20-minute treatment at my booth. A year later, the woman returned, recounting a life-transforming experience. She believed the treatment changed her entire life, and she now had everything she wanted. She felt like the point dissolved some kind of barrier that had hindered her progress in the past. It enabled her to speak her truth and chase after what she truly wanted in her life, moving across the country, finding her romantic partner, and having the career she always dreamed of, all from one ghost point. Now, the method for working with ghost points that I use in my clinic and teach is quite unique. It's traditionally done with a vibrating technique. In our program, we teach students a non-needle vibrational technique where your finger takes the place of the needle and the energetic vibration occurs beneath the skin. It's a very powerful approach. If you choose to use a needle, you'll need to experiment with the vibrational technique that suits you best. Some practitioners insert the needle and then gently vibrate it, while others use a Toya Hari-like technique with the needle hovering over the skin's surface and vibrating until once the point feels open and complete, then they insert the needle and retain it for a period of time. Traditionally, all the needles in the 13 Ghost Points protocol are retained and removed in reverse order. Regardless of your preference for needles or our non-needle technique, the crucial factor is to proceed patiently, allowing whatever needs to surface to manifest for the client. An essential aspect of mastering the ghost points involves knowing when to insert yourself into the treatment and when to remain an observant guide. It's equally vital to stay in the room with the person even after the needles are inserted, as they might need time to process the experience with your presence. I've encountered patients who have told stories of undergoing ghost point sessions with other practitioners who left them alone in the room, an emotionally unsettling experience. Alchemy and alchemical treatments center around facilitation, not fixing the client or healing the client. It's about walking alongside your client temporarily, bearing witness to any shifts that transpire. This is what I believe is the truest form and power of this incredible work. So to summarize, the ghost points hold tremendous power, yet cultivating their potential takes time and dedication. As a starting place, I recommend selecting 1 or 2 ghost points for initial cultivation. Ghost Palace, Do 26, is an excellent starting point for clients struggling to authentically express themselves in the world, while Ghost Market, Ren 24, is a great choice for those who struggle with positive self-expression. Utilizing a vibrating technique, either with the needle inserted, hovering over the point, or by exploring our non-needle technique, which I personally feel is even more powerful, but that is just how I practice and teach. If you're interested in discovering more in the realm of alchemical work, we have a number of online CEU classes on our alchemylearningcenter.com. Additionally, a new alchemy apprenticeship group will start this fall, designed to focus and guide your path and make this work more accessible and effective. Our goal is to facilitate deep connection with the ghost points within yourself, enabling you to utilize the transformative power in your own life and then eventually in your clinic. We also invite you to explore our podcast, the Inspired Action Podcast, dedicated to conversations about alchemy, the 5 elements, and the 9 palaces. I hope you enjoyed this shop talk on the potential of the ghost points. Thank you for joining me on this transformative exploration of alchemical healing. And keep an eye out for our new book on the 13 ghost points entitled The 13 Ghost Points, Clearing and Transcending Life's Traumas, due out in the first part of 2024.
When you're looking for herbs, tools, and supplies to guide your patients through life's transitions, you need quality you can trust. Lhasa OMS offers an unmatched selection of acupuncture needles for every style, herbs from all your favorite manufacturers, and everything else you need to run your clinic with confidence. Visit LhasaOMS.com to source the herbs and other supplies featured in this series. Use the code FERTILE15 for 15% off your next purchase at LhasaOMS.com. Some exclusions apply. See website for details. That's it for this episode of Shop Talk. Did you learn something that brought a patient to mind? Don't keep a good thing to yourself. Share it with a friend. They'll be happy that you did. And tune in again for our next episode of Shop Talk.